now we're going to switch to the reactions of the Helvetii. Okay? How do I know that we're going to do that? Helvetii is the subject of the sentence, right? Okay, so we got when the Helvetii, were made more certain about his arrival, they send legates to him. What are legates? Yeah, like ambassadors, envoys. Okay, so when the Helvetians were made more certain about his arrival, they send legates to him. Now he's going to tell us who the legates are. Why do you think he tells us who the legates are? Well, yeah, well, okay. But they're about to get their butts kicked. So why does he tell us who they are? Maybe. Well, yeah, remember he's trying to make his enemy seem more like worthy of getting their butts kicked. Okay, so he has to kind of build it up. He can't say, I just went and slaughtered some random, people. Okay, so they send legates to him. Now here we're going to describe the legates. So this nobilissimus goes back up here with this legates. So the most noble ones of the state. Okay, of which legates, of which embassy now Maius and Verucloitus were holding the chief place. So they were the leaders of the delegation. Okay, then we have this big honkin' long relative clause of characteristic. How did I know it was a relative clause of characteristic? No, I'm lying to you. I'm totally lying to you, I think. I am lying to you. It says it's a relative clause of purpose. So it says a relative clause of purpose. A relative pronoun is used when the antecedent of the clause is in the accusative. So instead of being ut, it becomes a relative pronoun when the thing that it refers to is in the accusative. It says the imperfect subjunctive of dico, which one may translate as a regular purpose clause. Okay. So I got who was saying that he had in mind this is a this dude right here is called a dative of possession. Okay, which basically meant like there is for him in his mind, or he held in his mind. Okay, but you can say that he had in mind. Without any malice. To make a journey through the province. Because they had no other journey. They had no other path. Okay, is that true? No, they had another path, right? We just learned that. Okay? And so do you think that Caesar believes it? No, right? Because he has spies. He knows. Okay, so now he's like, do you think he would have let him pass if he was like, no man, we were just seeing if we could get away with it? Maybe. Now they've like been dishonest with him. Right? So what's he going to do? Probably be mad. Okay, so this right here, this rogare, is called a historical infinitive. Did y'all learn about that in your summer work? Okay, basically, it's an infinitive that you translate as a main verb. Why? Ask why.
How do you know?
You can't figure out anything else to do with it. Well, okay, so one commentary that I read was that it could be construed as indirect statement based on this decurrent up here. But the problem with that is there is no accusative. Right? Right? I mean, literally in my note I have historical infinitive / indirect statement question mark.
Wait, is that supposed to be an indirect question after that?
It's an indirect command. Yeah. Okay. So, but this book says they asked that it be allowed. So they're doing it like a historical and infinitive.
Would they really put something like that on the exam?
I mean, they could ask you to translate it. Yeah. I don't think that they would ask you, is this a historical infinitive? They would just ask you to translate it.
So basically,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
so basically, the Romans just occasionally, instead of just using a normal verb, they just decided to use infinitive.
To speed up the narrative. He's speeding it up. Maybe a little too fast. Yeah, a little too fast. Right. Okay. So they ask that they be allowed to do this for themselves with his permission. Well, I mean, you know, if you were trying to get away with it, you might ask somebody's permission too. They're like, oh, since we got caught, you know, can we pass anyway? Right?
It's just the sentence, the way the sentence just feels weird. Like they ask that it's allowed for them to do it for themselves.
Well, they can't demand anything.
No, I'm talking about the ask. It's just like for themselves seems kind of like don't figure out.
Well, that's saying like, you know, mother may I, yes you may. That's pretty much what they're doing. Mother may I, and so you're just going to say, no you may not. Did you ever play that when you were little? Mother may I? Is that a girl game?
I kind of
I
remember
think
that. I
we
remember you played it.
I did a couple times, but I
Wait.
will like think about
Is that a game? Because I just like did that in real life.
You like ask how many steps you can take.
Yeah. That is your life, William.
Yeah, but how did you win that game? You just like didn't start the person.
Yeah. You had to get all the way to the front. Okay, here we go. Caesar because he was remembering, literally he was holding in his mind, but you can say he was remembering. Okay, then on these suckers you have to stick, it sets up an indirect statement without the essay because he just can't be bothered.
he's getting on my nerves.
He's getting on your nerves. Okay, because he remembered that, so put our little indirect statement over here, that Lucius Cassius the consul had been killed and his army had been driven back by the Helvetians. And had been sent under the yoke. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Had been sent under the yoke he was thinking that, and then we got this ND here, that he must not yield, or it must not be conceded. Okay, so here's the deal in 2 minutes or left. So the Romans, sometimes when they conquered people, they forced their army as a sign of defeat to march beneath an opening made of like upright spears called a eugum. So the Helvetians, when they conquered this Lucius Cassius guy, who was probably not that good of a soldier, they turned the tables on the Romans and made them march under the yoke, which to the Romans was a very disrespectful sign. It's kind of like, like you lose a bet with somebody and had to wear a Collierville shirt at Houston for a week after the Houston and Collierville game. Kind of like that, but like to a much greater degree.